on board saying happy to see Emmanuel in this segment. Nice to get to know a publisher, an artist, a writer down in Jeju. How did you come across him, Mark? How did you come to know Emmanuel?
Oh, so we became aware of Emmanuel through just one of the projects that JO and I have signed up for. It's through the JDC, and I think he's one of the other contributors there. And then JY, she's like, she loves writing, she loves reading. He's like, oh, we got to connect with this guy. This guy's an expat publisher. We have to get a hold of him. Yeah. So, yep, that's how we did it. Nice.
Yeah, the JDC who supports this corner as well, bringing lots of good minds together. Marilyn says from New Zealand, lots of people here are moving away from the cities to more quiet country areas, beaches especially. And yeah, that does seem to be a bit of a trend here in Korea with the kind of chongkans and then also families, in fact, moving away, getting incentives to live in the countryside where there are no kids. But I would still say the overwhelming number of parents in Korea want their kids in Seoul with the best educational resources, all the hagwons, etc. They're too worried that their kids might fall behind or not get into the best universities. There's still that pressure. I really feel that here in the capital, and I would love to just make that dive and jump out of the system, but it's not an easy choice. Thank you for shining the light on that, Emmanuel. So we are talking about expats here in Jeju Island, where Mark is one of those people yourself. So how do expats, I wonder, how do they find their community, find their place in Jeju?
That is the question, right? So Jeju is a pretty big island, and it's home to about 33,000 foreigners, or roughly 5% of its nearly 70,000 population, 700,000 member population.
Oh, there's not even a million people down there. Okay.
No, not even a million. And as a U.S. citizen, I'm a part of this too, but I'm part of even a smaller group. In fact, there's actually fewer than 1,400 Americans on Jeju.
Wow.
So despite its size, the expat community, it does sometimes feel small. And so to address your question, many expats, they connect through work, obviously, or interest groups, language exchanges, or social events, especially online, like social hubs and group chats and everything.
Yeah.
And the key hub for bringing expats together is its restaurants run by fellow expats too. You just run into people who are running it or also who are there to enjoy a meal.
Yeah, seeking out their comfort foods, maybe feeling a bit homesick, etc., etc. That's really intriguing. So is there a wide variety of ethnic or foreign global food on Jeju Island? All I remember now is the burgers. Lots of burgers that you've shown us.
That's right. I am American after all.
Yes.
But hey, we do have it. Not nearly as much as Seoul. I mean, Seoul's great in that aspect. But we have a much smaller selection in comparison. But I will say the restaurants and the joints run by locals from such countries, they can serve some pretty amazing food.
Yeah, I can't really recall, apart from, a few burger joints that I remember even seeing on my trip, that many Indian restaurants or authentic Chinese or Southeast Asian restaurants when I was in Jeju. I wasn't spending too much time in Jeju-shi, so maybe that was part of the reason.
Yep.
But I'm really curious. So we're going to go into some cuisine from a country that isn't America, but it's very close. So we're going to visit, a Mexican restaurant?
Right. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at our second image here?
Wow. Is that the exterior? That's the building.
Yeah, that's the exterior. So this is a taqueria named Cachito, and it opened up very recently in the neighborhood, and I heard many, many, many great things about this space already from my expats, compatriots and friends. So this is a taqueria, which is a type of a Mexican restaurant specializing in tacos and other Mexican street foods. So Peter, thoughts on Mexican food? How about you?
I absolutely love it. And I love places that look authentic. Whether or not they are doesn't matter so much. They just need to look authentic. That, if you weren't watching the video stream, it had almost the rusty metal kind of exterior. And it didn't look like something in Korea whatsoever. I love that industrial look. And yeah, recently I met a chef, an actual Mexican chef here in Seoul who's running a place where they do really authentic stuff, not like the Korean fusion styles or the American versions, but yeah, like birrias and a taqueria, because his family did that in Mexico. So really like kind of humble, homemade Mexican food is delicious. I'm assuming you're a fan as well, Mark.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. And especially this establishment because it specializes in tacos. Come on. And also Mexican street food. So you really can't go wrong. I wanted to mention in the image, their logo is actually the dol harubang with the sombrero on. So that's fun.
Okay, I was wondering who is that chap. It was the harubang. If you put a hat on someone, sometimes you can't recognize them. That goes for the dol harubang as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with a big one like a sombrero.
Yeah. So this is a recently opened up place.
Yep, absolutely. And again, when it comes to finding authentic options, you have to do some digging, right? It might not necessarily be in the city, especially this one. This is in Mosopol, which is down in the southwestern part of the island.
Wow.
And with the opening of Cachito, though, everything changed. The name means cachito, a little piece of something. And this place truly feels like a small slice of Mexico in Jeju, and it's filled with warmth and love.
Nice. So is that like a kind of off the beaten path kind of area of the island?
Yes, a little bit. Actually, I used to live in that area before I moved to Gosan, and now it's a bit more famous for its dolphin sightings. But yeah, southwestern area. It has a port there and a 5-day market. But it is relatively close to some of the international schools, so you will actually find some expat community there.
Yeah, and maybe that's the reason for locating a restaurant catering to expats as well. Obviously, locals can go, I assume. But who is the owner then? Is it run by Mexicans?
Yes, it is. In fact, it's a lovely Mexican chef by the name of Rocio, and I was lucky to catch her on the day of Dia de los Muertos. For those of you who are not familiar with the Day of the Dead, it's the Mexican holiday celebrated on November 1st and 2nd to honor and remember deceased loved ones. Think of the Pixar film Coco.
Remember me. Yes, I remember that. Absolutely. Dia de los Muertos. Amazing. Let's check out your video sit down then with Rocia.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
A ustedes por venir. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for having us here today. Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hola, me llamo Rocío, tengo 32 años y vivo aquí en Jeju desde hace 6 años
speaking
con mi esposo y
interview.
mi bebé.
32-year-old living in Jeju for about 6 months.
Un día me invitó de vacaciones, me gustó y me
And you
quedé.
just went on vacation with the hubby to
Can you tell
Jeju
us a little bit
and settled.
about how
What?
you
That's
really
random.
ended up in Jeju? Why Jeju and how
Her
did
husband,
you end up
I
here?
believe, is Korean too.
Okay.
Que Jeju está muy bonito, me gusta mucho.
So
Y
because Jeju is
me
so
gusta el mar,
beautiful,
me
she
gusta la
likes it, the
playa,
sea, the
me
beach,
gusta la cultura
Korean
coreana.
culture.
Y pues me gustó, solamente me gustó aquí.
How's it been like trying to really start this business here? How's that been going?
En cuestión de
Oh, the administrative part
administrativa
wasn't
no
that
fue difícil.
difficult.
Lo
Interesting.
complicado fue un poquito adaptar
But getting
los
ingredients
ingredientes
and
para encontrarlos aquí.
adapting to what is available
Y pues
and
solo
trying to get the
el sabor,
flavors
buscar el
close
sabor
to
correcto, más parecido a México con
authentic
los
as
ingredientes
possible. That
que
is
estuvieran
always the
aquí
challenge
en
with, I
Jeju.
guess, ethnic food.
Yeah.
And how has your food and the restaurant, how's it been received by the locals?
Ah, pues yo pienso que tiene mucha curiosidad porque si nos preguntan
Oh, nice.
mucho
So people are really
sobre
curious about what the
qué es,
food is.
qué es, porque los
Look at those
colores,
decorations for the Day
qué
of
es la
the Dead.
comida,
That
cómo
might
se
scare off a
comen.
few
Y la
children.
verdad es algo muy bonito que la gente tenga esa curiosidad.
Oh, not
por
really,
algo
right? If you
diferente,
think of
algo
the Day
nuevo
of the
que la
Dead, it's
gente
actually
en Jeju
embracing
no
that culture,
está
and
acostumbrado a
it's
ver.
portrayed in not a scary manner.
And,
In fact,
so I'm
yeah,
really curious
children
too,
are quite involved.
because
Yeah, I
we
mean, the
have
skeletons
interviews
and stuff.
with,
I don't know. I guess if you
expat
explain
chefs
what it's
who've
all
come
about
here
and
to
you watch
Jeju.
that film.
Are there
yeah.
any like compromises or when it comes to recipe, are there any things that you like have to substitute or compromise when it comes to making your dish, say using some local Jeju
That was so good. Oh,
crops. Or
fajitas.
something like that.
Fajitas look
Sí, a mí me
amazing.
gusta mucho el mercado de
Oh,
los
yeah.
5 días.
So-
Pork,
Oichang,
beef, shrimp.
a mí me gusta mucho.
She goes to the
Y,
Oiljang,
pues,
the
ahí vamos a
5-day
comprar
market,
lo
and
que
buys a
usamos
lot of
aquí en
ingredients
Cachito.
in
I love the pepper
Chachito.
sauce. And do you make it with Jeju pepper?
Sí.
Oh, their
yeah.
own homemade
Nachos,
pepper sauces,
Manuel?
garlic
Oh,
and
yeah, dude.
pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the sauces.
Homemade
the
sauce,
sauces
man.
are awesome. But you should just come here for the sauces.
Because I think Jeju pepper is very spicy compared to like other places.
Y el ajo también. Manuel. Jeju Manuel.
Yeah.
Ah, the garlic spicy, the peppers are
Garlic.
spicy. Wow, that's going to add a kick.
And I guess for anybody coming in and from Jeju, are there any other food that you would suggest for someone coming in to really get? I mean, I'm sure it's all the dishes are authentic Mexican experience, but are there any that they should really try on their first time?
Las carnitas y las quesadillas.
Carnitas
Con
and
cualquier tipo de
quesadillas
carne.
with all kinds of
Lo
meats.
que más le gusta a las personas y que me gustaría que
Those
también
classic
probaran.
Awesome. Corn,
Mexican
corn
foods.
tortilla.
Wow, the
Corn
soft
tortilla.
ones.
It's gotta
Food is
be
delicious.
corn.
And she mentioned the quesadillas. We didn't get them last time, so we definitely have to try them. Thank you so much again.
A ustedes, muchas gracias. por
Hey,
venir.
muchas gracias. Great. Okay, perfect.
That's it. Thank you so much.
It looks so good and so like authentic. And I've never been to Mexico, so I may be completely wrong, but it looks like what you get on the street there or at home or something like that is not all dressed up to look super fancy and Instagrammable. Not that it looked ugly or anything, but yeah, it looks like taste more than anything.
Yeah, and we should comment about the space as well. If we want to talk about Instagram and social media, so colorful the interior. You know what I mean? So it's just all beautiful. So you got the Frida on the wall and the Dia de los Muertos decorations and even some literature, kids books. You know, so
Wow.
you can bring your children. They can learn about Latin and Mexican culture too, and you enjoy this delicious food. It's a good time.
Yeah, it looked amazing. It didn't look like that was Korea, let alone Jeju. And we learnt the phrase in our number one, ulkut pulkut, and maybe that would describe the restaurant. All the powerful colours, like interacting with one another as well. And a few messages coming in. Sherry's saying there's actually a significant Korean population in parts of Mexico. Yeah, we did talk about that, I think, with David Tizard, our professor, where some migrants went really early, like I think more than 100 years ago, and actually fell into some hard labour and didn't have such a great time. But then the community took root over there. And wow, so her hubby's Korean. She's now living down there. That's amazing. Sally saying, thanks for interviewing her. I'm so proud of her. Rossio, see you soon. All right, one more left. Expat, that is, in part 3 today. Why don't we get to that after this one from Golden Child, sung by Juchan and Chibom. Love Your Everything.